Okay. 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 Perfect. 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 Somebody else? Yes, Victor. Okay. Okay. Oh. Ah, perfect. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Victor. So, is there anyone who is who hasn't been coding? Do you have anyone who is who wish to start coding so that maybe we can have a word for them? Anyone in the group? So I believe most of us we have interacted with one language or another, and probably your purpose for attending this training is to upskill yourself, or rather to gain a new skill. So thank you for making time for this session. My name is Daniel. There are those we have met before, and others are probably we are probably new to each other. But with time, we will come to know each other, and that interaction keeps us moving as developers. So the purpose of this training is to at least shed some light to those who wish to start coding, just to give some insights to those who are not sure where to start, and also for those who have skills in other languages and who intend to learn a new language altogether. The training is free. We are currently doing it for free, so you are welcome to invite other guys who could be interested in such training. And the one exciting thing about it all is that at the end of the training, if you wish, there is a certificate that you'll get. So let me start sharing my screen so that we can give it a start. So in case you have any question in between the session, you are free to ask, so that at least we can move on the same pace, and also ensure that everything is clear for everyone. So let me know how many of you guys are following along with uh, on a computer. That is, you code as we do it. Yes, Vincent, thank you. Anyone else? All right. So in case you are following on your phone or on your laptop, and you wish to follow the session later, we will ensure to give a link to the video of this training, so that at least you are able to consume the concept that we run, the concept that we run. because when it comes to coding, it's always good to listen and also try to practice what you learned. It's the only way to appreciate and to confirm whether those concepts make sense or rather have some meaning. So there are some few things that I need to mention about this training. One of them is that we have a course outline that we'll be using. I'm sure you guys have seen this link. If you came across this training from Facebook, I'm sure you saw this URL. So this is the course outline that we are going to use for now. And just to mention, this training just gives you basics of Django, but we are going to cover as much concepts as we can, so that with the skills that we are going to share during this training, you will be able to dig deeper. And somebody is asking me. All right, I'm going to share the URL. So I was saying that the basics that we are going to give during this training, we will be able to lay a very firm foundation for you to be able to learn now the advanced concepts of Django. So please confirm, are you able to see my screen? Okay, perfect. All right, so that is the link. So basically, this is a course I just uploaded since the previous training session. So for you to check out, just use this coupon code. Once you use it, it will clear all the balances, or rather all the balance that or rather the cost attached to that course. So once you sign up, you'll be able to have access to this course. Basically, there are no content in these subtopics. The content is what we will be covering in this online training. But at the end of the training, you will have some questions, just an overview of what we will be learning. And after you are able to complete that, then a certificate will be generated for you. So that's it. So ensure to, if you wish to have a certificate, just register. Use this coupon code to get that course. All right. Then the next thing I wish to mention is the sponsors of this training session. This training session has been sponsored by Dynamic Technologies. This is our website. So these are the sponsors of this training session. So in your free time, you can go through the services that we offer here. And should you need any of the services, you can always reach out to us, and we'll be able to assist you with whatever service that you need. So let's begin. Let's now start covering some of these concepts. Basically, the training will go for 3 days, and we will try as much to get most of these concepts within the 3 days. And the training goes for 1 hour. If we have to extend, we will ensure that we don't go beyond 10 to 20 minutes, because I'm sure you guys could be tired after a long day at work. All right. So the first thing when you want to code, when you want to start developing, you need to set up a working environment. And maybe just to mention, Django is a Python framework popularly used to create a website backend. Out there, we have other alternatives that you can use to create a backend for websites, but someone will choose Django over the others for some personal reasons, because some of these reasons are based on opinion. And in my own opinion, the reason why I would consider Django over other programming languages is that one, especially if you are mainly a backend developer and you want to learn a new coding language, Django would be the language to take. Seeing that other languages, you have to create something like an admin panel whereby you define the CRUD operation, the create, update, and delete operations of a database. Basically, Django, you just need to focus on the main concept. An admin interface will be created for you, whereby you can be able to upload, or rather manage whatever tables that you'll have created. By managing, I mean you are able to create new records, you are able to delete records, you are able to edit and all that. So when taking Django, you just need some basics of front-end, and the rest will just work as it should. So so for us to run Django, you need to set up a working environment. And a working environment means installing the necessary dependencies. And as we mentioned, Django being a Python framework, you need to have Python installed on your system. So here I have the Python official website. So if you need Python, basically, if you are on Linux, most of the Linux distributions have Python installed. But it's always good to check if you have it right. And the way to confirm if you have it right, you run this command. That is Python 3 version. Just confirm that it's installed. If it's not, then navigate to the official page and download the installation files. Usually this website will detect the operating system that you're using, and you'll get the file according to the operating system that you're using. So just download, extract, and install. Then there is also something else that we need to install alongside Python, and that is there is the virtual environment that you need to set up. So let me just share the Python official page. So for those who are following along, maybe you can take some notes if there is need to do that. If you can recall, well and good. So usually if you install Python, you should install a virtual environment and also a package manager for Python, popularly known as pip. So just confirm. Once you install Python, you run this command to confirm it's installed. Then the other thing is to confirm that pip was installed alongside Python by running that command. So the reason why we are installing pip is that we needed to install some Python dependencies. Yes, Vincent. Yes, please. Which window? Hapa. in this section. Hapa. Yes. Oh, okay. This is okay. This is the terminal. Maybe for your case, if you are on Windows, utatumia CMD. Sorry, I think I had an oversight on that. So hii ni terminal, utafungua tu terminal ama CMD just to confirm the versions of what we need to get started. Is that okay, Vincent? Okay, perfect. Yes, Victor, you. Yes, Victor, I'm waiting for you. Yes, please. What do you mean? Oh, PIP. Okay, usually it's supposed to include PIP in it, but in a scenario where it's not included, or if you have installed Python, you check and confirm Python has been installed, then also confirm that pip is installed and you find that it's not installed, then you need to visit this website. Anyway, there are many websites out there that you can visit that have instructions on how to install pip. So let me just share these. Yes, they should be together. So check out on that documentation on how to install pip if it's not included. Then we also need the virtual env. This should also be included in the Python version that you install. So if it's not there, that's the documentation on how to install a virtual environment. So the way to check for the virtual environment, just run virtual env, then double hyphen version. Then you should get something like this. So anyone who is left behind? Anyone who is left behind for those who are following? All right. I hope we are together, and if we are not, I hope you will catch up. So the next thing that we need to install is that we need a platform where we are going to be typing our code. Okay, perfect, Robin. So that particular platform, we would consider calling it a code editor. Out there, I believe there are various code editors that we can use, but with me here, I have the preferred code editor that I would recommend to you. Is called Visual Studio Code Editor. So this one is the one that we are going to use to edit our code or to write codes. So just visit the website. Usually it detects your operating system. Then you can just click on one of the links. Depending with, for instance, in my case, I'm given two options, so I can just go with any. But usually, for those on Linux distributions, just go with this. For those on Windows, you will be given your download links. Please download that. It's usually around 60 to 90 MBs. Then install. Yes, Robin, PyCharm works as well. It works as well. But currently, I'm not sure of its pros and cons. It's always good anyway to experience the feeling of the different code editors so that you can settle with the best. But if you don't have your preferred one, then I would recommend Visual Studio Code Editor. That one will work for us. Alright, I hope you guys are, for those who are following along, I hope you are with us. I hope you are with us. So far so good. Anyone left behind? All right, I hope not. So once we have installed the required applications, then we need to now start writing some codes. And before we do that, let me show you something. So for you to write a backend, I want us to learn by example, not just covering concepts without really using them. So I have these I have a template here. I have a template here. So this is the template I want us to give a backend. And maybe just to mention the difference between, we have two major types of websites. One of them is a static website and another one is a dynamic website. So static websites are those whose content do not need to change, or if you need to change it, you edit the code. For dynamic content, think of something like a blog website. Think of something like an e-commerce website. So for this particular website, we could have it as as a static website, whereby most of this content you don't need to change it regularly. And if you do, you just have to edit the source code for this particular project. So what I need us to do, I want to use these template for our illustration for for this training, and we are going to use most of the concepts here. All right. So what I want us to do, for us to consume these templates as for the purpose of covering a dynamic website, I want us to make this section dynamic, either this section or we have the services section. Dynamic will mean we are able to add a new service from the backend. We don't need to edit the source code to add a new service. So this is the website that we will be using for this training. And for those who are probably not front-end developers or good in designing such templates, you can get free templates from this website. This is where I fetch most of my templates, so you can be sure to get some good templates here for practice purposes or for your own use. So just visit that website to get your templates. So let's get started. Let us now start by we first of all need to set up a folder where we'll be working. So I created a new folder, named it Django training on 19th. Then, so it is in this folder that I want us to start now building our website or creating our project. So from this folder, open the terminal or your command prompt. So for those on Linux, I think you can just right click. Then there is this option of open terminal here. Then I think for the Windows guys, you can just click on this section, then type cmd, then click enter. So in that case, the cmd will be opened under this folder. So the next thing I want us to do, I'm already on that folder. Let me check something. All right, let me just go back. So what I want us to start with is by creating a virtual environment. So the importance of a virtual environment, it helps us manage the dependencies for each and every project. So for instance, in this project, we'll be using a certain version of say Django. In another project, we could require a different version, probably the latest version as at that time. So we wouldn't want to use this particular version meant for this particular project. So that necessitates the need to have a virtual environment whereby we install the dependencies for each and every project in its own virtual environment. So to create a virtual environment, we are going to run this to write this command, python 3 then -m virtual env, then we give it a name. So the name, let's call it Django training, Django env, just any name, just give it any name and it will work. So just take note of it. Just take note of that. So once you type in that command, it creates a virtual environment with the same name. So the command is python 3 dash or rather space -m venv, then you give it a name. So you can give it any name. All right, so the next thing will be to activate this virtual environment, and this varies from operating system to another. So you could check through the official documentation on how to activate the virtual environment. But let me just share what you need to activate the virtual environment. So for those on Windows, we'll be running Django env. All right, so those on Windows, use that. So this first section, this is the name of your virtual environment, then followed by a /script, then /activate. Then for those on Windows, or rather for those using Linux, we have source, then the name, we have source, the name of your virtual environment, then bin, then activate. But I think if you noted, my virtual environment was not activated. So please try using that from your end as well. So for some reason, my virtual environment was not activated. So I need to do, or rather to find a workaround for this. And after trying to check for an alternative, this command works as well to activate my virtual environment. If you noted, something has changed from this path, see, home, and all that. So it's currently sitting on the virtual environment. So if you created the same name, or rather if you created your virtual environment using the same name as I did, then that's the command. Alternatively, that's the command, but ensure to change this name. Alright, so far so good. Anyone left behind? Alright, I hope we are together. So once we create a virtual environment, it's now time to start with the first things that needs to be done immediately after activating the virtual environment. So the first thing will be to install Django, because that's the first dependency that we need to get started. So remember, we mentioned of pip. And in this case, the moment we launched the virtual environment, pip was also installed. So once we try to check the version, there it is. If you also try to check Python 3 version, there it is. I think if you also check version, rather Python without Python 3. So in this case, you can use Python when you are in the working, or rather in the on the virtual environment. You can use Python without the 3. It's still the same. So what we need to do, let us install Django. Pip install Django. That's the command. So in this case, this will install the latest version of Django that we have at the moment. So that's the command. I think it's taking a bit of time. Seems there is some network connection issues. All right. Alright, and within some few seconds, I was able to install Django on my virtual environment. So the way to confirm if Django is installed, you can just write Django admin and click on enter. Then you will see a list of commands that you can use. So this confirms that Django is installed. If it wasn't installed, then you wouldn't get this list. So the next thing after installing Django, it's now time to create our project. So a project in Django, that is the baseline of creating a Django project. Creating a project, the project will hold applications. So let's first of all create a project, then see the file structure for a Django project. So the way to do that, we have Django admin start. We have start project. Then the name of the project will be let me just check on this website and see what name to give it. Let me just name it Webwing. I'll name it Webwing. Webwing. Let me just name it Webwing. Click on enter. ULS. You're able to see the name of the project that we created. So let us navigate to that to the folder with our project. So the way to do that, either on terminal or on command line. Just write cd, that is change directory, then webwing. Once you do that, if you have already installed Visual Code Editor, I think I forgot to mention something. When installing, there will be an option of that will be asking you whether to add a Visual Studio Code to path, something of the sort. So if you get that, ensure to check the checkbox. So at this point, let us open our project on Visual Studio Code, and we do that by, once we ensure that we are in the path, or rather in the folder where we created our project. Then we run the command code, then that dot. That is the command to start a project by that name. Alright, so this is the project that we just created. So if you used this command code then a dot, and your Visual Studio Code did not open for some reasons, so just open the Visual Studio Code by either searching on it from the search section, or if a shortcut was created on the desktop, just click on that to open Visual Studio Code. Then just click on File, then Open Folder. There is this section. Click on Open Folder, then navigate to the location of your of the folder holding your project. So in my case, I have Webwing. Once you click on that, then click Open. It will open your project as it is here. So we just need to do an overview of the main files that we have here. But before I forget, when using Visual Studio Code, to get a very nice experience when coding with Django, you just need to install some few extensions. So just click on, there is this button here, just click on that. So the importance of the extension, one of them is they will help you in auto completion. Sometimes you may just have an idea of a command that you need to write, but you may not have memorized the exact command. So if you just start typing, you get those auto completion experiences, and they just make coding easy. So the first extension that I would want us to use, just search for jinja. I think this should be it, with around 7.2 million downloads. These usually it's used to improve your experience in when working with Django templates. Just install that. Also install it. Then also check for Django. So immediately you just click on install. The installation starts. So the next thing, just search for Django. I think it's usually the first one that occurs here. I think this should be from the official documentation, with around currently has around 8 million installations. So once you have those two in place, I think those will be enough to help us in our project or in this training. So there are some few files that we need to take note of and probably appreciate them, because we will be using them quite often during our development. One of them is the settings.py, this file here. So this file holds most of the global settings for your project and application. We will be doing some editing on this file. and during the training you will see some of the files, or rather some of the lines of code that we will be editing. So just to mention some of the key lines of code that we interact with, basically this is one of them. During development, debug is set to true. When you deploy, this is set to false. When set to true during development, you are able to see errors on your browser, since this is set to true. Otherwise, in production, you wouldn't want to show your clients some errors, because some of them contain some critical information that you wouldn't want your website visitors to see. We will also add a route host, especially when we are hosting this website. Installed apps, we will be adding our applications here. Then for the middleware, we won't be covering this in this current training session. Then for the templates, we'll be consuming some templates, so we are going to define the location of our template in this section. Then another thing, we are not going to touch on databases, but just to let you know that currently we are using a local database called SQLite 3. So if a need arises or during deployment, because this is not recommended for deployment, configuration for Postgres and MySQL databases can be done in this section here. Then we are not going to work with this section. We are also not going to work with this. Then for the static files, we are going to touch on that as a topic. Then we're also not going to touch on this section as well. So that's the settings.py file. Then we also have the urls.py file. This file connects the project and the application. We are going to see how to add or whatever codes that we will add on this file. So the other file that we'll be mentioning every time we want to run the server, the development server, is the manage.py file. So we are going to be using it, but we are not going to edit any content here. So let us just appreciate its presence, but we won't be writing any code in that file. So that's just a brief overview of the files that we have in our project, and it's good to take note that this is a project, because we will be creating something else that we will call an application. So at this point, we can now start our development server and see if we get the default Django page. And the way to do that, we have Python manage.py. We are just from mentioning manage.py. Then we have run server. Then click enter. All right. So we have a warning here. This is not an error. This is just a warning. So let us see. So once we run the development server, maybe we are told that starting development server at this address. So this is the localhost, the localhost IP, and the port. So Django, for those who might probably do some concepts on containerization, this IP is unique for Django applications. So different languages have different IP, different ports. So for Django, let us appreciate that it's using 8000. However, if you wanted to run it on a different port, you would have defined it here. So let's just access it using the default port. So we have the local host and the port. Then click on enter, and there we go. So basically, getting this page just simply means that your Django project has been installed successfully. So we also need to appreciate the existence of Django documentation. I think I almost forgot to mention that. So Django, or rather, to be successful in any coding language, you need to appreciate the existence of the documentation, because the documentation could be your it's basically the dictionary for that coding language. So here we have the Django documentation that you can go through and just see different concepts. So, and for you to be able to consume these documentation, you first of all need to build that foundation for this particular language, and be able to, or rather be in a position now to consume whatever concept that you need to, or rather you'll be searching from this documentation. So first, note the existing documentation, then get some basics, get a foundation for that language, then now start consuming the different concepts as outlined in the documentation. So let me just share this as well. That's for the Django documentation. So once we were able to create and get this page, it's now time to create an application. Usually, for you to consume this template, you need to create an application on top of a project. So the first thing that should start is a project. The next thing that should follow is an application. So are we together, guys? Are you still there? Okay, perfect, Michael. All right, it's good to know that we are together. Okay, all right, nice. So let's continue. So we mentioned that for us to be able to consume this template and give it a backend, we need to create an application. We have already created a project, so on top of that project we create an application. And the way to do that, so for this, we first of all need to stop this development server. We do that by clicking on Control C. Once you do Control C, the development server stops. Somebody has turned on their mic. Yes, Victor. All right, thank you. Okay. So we have just stopped the development server. So the next thing, we want to create an application for our project. So we do that by running Python manage.py start app. So this time we are not starting a project, we are starting an application. So it's start app, then have a space, and give your app a name. So let me just name it home. So in your case, you can give it any other name. So the name is upon you to decide. So let me just share this command as well. All right. So let me just do a few of these. All right. So going back to our Visual Studio Code editor, if you check, you are able to see your newly created application. We have home. Let's expand that and see the different files that we will be interacting with. One of them is the admin.py file. We will be using this to just give our admin interface some functions. As we mentioned, Django has an inbuilt admin dashboard. You don't need to code HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to to create the admin dashboard. Django will do it for you. So this is the file that we will be writing some codes to define the look and feel of the admin interface. Then we won't be working with apps. We'll be dealing with models. This is where you define the tables of your database. So for this particular project that we are working on, we will be creating a table to consume this data. So that is usually done in the models.py file. We won't be working on test, but we will also be working on views. So this is where we will be defining what happens when a user visits a particular URL. So for instance, if for instance now that we visited the localhost homepage, we got this page. So basically this is not defined in the views.py file. It's basically defined by Django to be the default page, but for us to achieve, say, these the homepage, this homepage for this particular template, we need to write a view that returns that page. We are going to see the code that will appear here. So there is also another file that we will be working with, and we will name it urls.py file. We are going to create that file in this folder home. So the way to do that, please note that I just expanded that folder. While at that, click on this small button here to create a new file. So just name it urls.py, click on that. So we are going to be writing some codes here, and the logic works like this. So once a visitor or our website visitor visits our website, the first check that receive those requests will be coming in the urls.py file. So in here we are going to reference these URLs from our application, or rather from our application. So the first one is in our project, remember? So don't confuse it. At least get the difference between a project and an application. That way you'll be able to appreciate where to write a certain code. Is it in the these URLs under project, or the URLs in the application? So yes, please. Yes, I'm fine, thank you. Okay, perfect. So remember, when we after doing all the installations and all that, we started by creating a project. So the project acts as the baseline. Remember, okay, we are just mentioning that we want to create a project that will enable us have this give this website a backend. So the project, this is what we started by creating, and has these critical files. The settings.py file, this is a unique file for the project. For our app, I'm sure we have the urls.py file, but it's worth noting that we start for a Django project. For us to give a website a backend, we build or rather we create a project first that acts as the baseline. On top of that project, we create applications. So in this case, we can only have one project, but we can create multiple applications, and some of the differences can be seen by the files in the application and in the project. So if you just have an overview of the files in the project, you can see what we have here. Then for the application, look at what we talked about. We talked about the admin.py file. You won't find this file in the project. Neither will you find apps, models, views, and all that. So basically, that's just a retro about the difference between the two, and a way of helping you differentiate the two. So in some advanced concept, you may decide to create a new application inside this project, but you may not have two projects. So I'm not sure if I answered your question. Is okay, okay, perfect. I believe it's now clear. Yes, please. Somebody is asking a question. Yes, Robin. Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, 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 Robin. Yes, we are still moving on, and we are going to get to that. Okay, perfect. Then somebody is asking, so webwing is the server? Okay, not really. We named our project webwing, and we said this is just a name that after just viewing the template that we are planning to use, I saw this name, so I decided to use this name. So this name is not unique in any way. You can use any name to name uh, your project. Even for our application, it's not necessary that we call it home. We would still have called it webwing, but anyway, they have to be different. That is the project, and the application. You just give them different names. So webwing is not really the server. Webwing is the name we gave our to our project. Is it clear, Mohammed? Okay, perfect, perfect. So it's nice to note the difference between an app and a project. This way you'll be able to appreciate. So we can just remove this code. So I'm seeing we are on the hour. I'm not sure if we have covered enough for today. Sometimes when you're doing something like this, time will really be flying. Anyway, I'm sure we have done some introduction. We have also talked about the project. So we will now be working on URLs and views. That is from tomorrow. So we will see how to connect these application, our project rather, and our application. We connect them through the views, or rather through the URLs, and we will also do something to the settings.py to just make our project aware that there exists an application by this name, or rather there exists an application by the name home. So I believe that's enough for today, guys, unless somebody has a question. We might not have learned so much, but I believe it's uh, something nice that we have already laid the background, we have already laid the basis. So by the time we complete tomorrow, I'm sure you guys will have gotten so much. Yes, Victor, please. Yes, please. Yes, we have two more sessions, and we'll be trying to rush through what we have here: the URLs, views, setting up templates, working with. Yes, we have these uh, list here, the outline. Yes, so we have tomorrow and the day after. Yes, yes, Robin. Yes, please. For Django, we installed the latest version. Then for Python, well, the version you use may matter. Just ensure it's Python 3. Any Python 3 will be working for you. Yes, 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 Victor. Sorry. Yes, please. Well, okay. I suppose you're asking how Django, how the backend and the front end relate, or how we are going to consume the front end. Well, it's kind of. You know, when we are using the views, that's when we define. Because for instance, say yes, say a page like this. If we don't have any data coming from the database, we will define a view that returns this page without any data from the database. Then yes, that's what we call a view. Then from the same view, as we mentioned that we will be fetching this data from our database, these services. So in the same view, this is where we fetch this data, then we pass it to our template. Yes, and we will see how to do that tomorrow. Yes. Mm-hmm. Uh, yes, so if for instance, I will still use this one as an example. You just want to have index.html. Well, one, you may not necessarily need to use Django for that because it's a one page and probably you are not fetching any data from the database. But if, for instance, the one page that you are talking about has some data, uh, from this section, or rather from the urls.py of the project, you are going to link the URLs of the project to that of the application. Then it goes to the view just to render that one page. So I think, Victor, you are running so fast. We are going to cover that tomorrow. So that's something that we are going to see how to achieve that. All right. Thank you, Christabel. Okay. You are breaking. I'm not able to get you clearly. Yes, yes, please. Okay, Christabel, I'm getting you at one point, then you are getting lost. Is it? Yes, you are clear now. So are you on Windows or on Linux? In Linux, on Windows. You tried using this command. The command, there is a command that we shared, but they didn't. Huh? They did. Let me just confirm if you have this. You used this command. Let me paste it. Where the V and V is then the name of, and you are not able to activate it, right? All right. Probably you can join the session before the others. That is some minute just before 8 tomorrow, and we are going to see how to resolve that. Is that okay? All right. Mohammed. Yes, Mohammed. Please share with us your question. Yes, please. Oh, you. All right. Then are you able to link up with each other? Yes. Okay. I'm asking if you're able to. You said you are willing to help. You're willing to help. What's her name? Christabel. Okay. Perfect. Then I'm not sure if you can just drop you are already in the group, right? Uh, Maybe you just mention some. Sorry. Well, if it's sure, please you can. No worries. All right. So probably if you're also facing the same challenge, you can be left behind shortly after the call. Anyone else with a question? Any remarks? Any remarks? Anybody to tell us how the session was? Anybody who learned something new? Uh, okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. You're so much welcome. All right. Anyone else? All right. So one is to thank you guys for showing up. Some of these sessions or some of these training sessions, you can't do them alone. You need an audience. So one, I appreciate you showing up and also showing the interest to learn with us. I really appreciate. So in case you have a colleague who, sometimes it's hard to decide where to start, especially when it comes to coding. And remember, for you to become a web developer and all that, you don't necessarily need to have taken an IT course or any computer science course. It just needs you to be passionate and know where to start. So for us, we are going to give you where to start for those who are not sure where to start. Then from that point, you can be able to navigate through. And there's something that makes coding really hard. Not having the right path. If you're not sure where to start, probably you just go online, find a video on how to code a certain language, and the guy there gives you some advanced concepts, yet you are a beginner, you end up being frustrated. But when you have the course outline, when you start from the beginner's concepts, you are able to build that to be that developer, to gain the necessary skills, just from, from the ground level going upwards. Then it's also good to have some curiosity. Once we cover the retro concept that we'll cover here, they're just meant to lay that foundation. We will also share ideas on how you can, on how you can work on some projects on your own, gauge yourself, and every time you are working on these projects, just be sure that you are running something new. Also, it's also nice to mention that there are some resources out there. If you get any challenge, you can be sure that other people have met that same challenge in the past, and it's probably documented on internet. So just search. Now that we have something like we have this chat GPT, you can get most of the solutions here. So in case you face an error, this AI called chat GPT, just paste the error. If it's an error, paste it here, and it's able to, it's able to go through the error and offer recommendations. Where it may not be all that perfect to give you all the right answers, but at least you can be sure that 90% of your questions, you get them right. Besides that, there is also another website called Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow. There is also another website where you can get most of the solutions to errors that you face. Then the other one is the official documentation that we mentioned. Just make use of that, and at the end of the day, you will have achieved so much. So the trick to keep getting the skills right, ensure to learn something new each and every day. Keep building projects. For those who don't have portfolios, start thinking of creating one, because for you to tell me that you know how to code, yet you don't have any project that you have completed, and if you have, it's not documented, and it becomes a bit hard. And the fact that getting a job or securing a job nowadays has been a little hard, just ensure that create a profile. Just let people know what you do by sharing a link. Share with them a link. Purchasing a domain when you are a developer and a hosting service, it won't cost you much. Well, it would be much if you probably not working, but sometimes with around 3,000 per year, you can be sure to have a domain name and a hosting service where you'll be showcasing your skills. And that's what you need to be showcasing as a developer. And also something like a GitHub account, have that as well. Be uploading these projects there. These skills are available online or in such training sessions that we're having now. So that's it for me, guys. Thank you once more, and I will see you tomorrow. So have a good night, unless somebody has a question. All right, goodbye, guys. See you tomorrow. For those who are being left behind, please be left behind. Let's resolve that issue.